everyone. And Chag Hanukkah Sameach. Happy Hanukkah to everybody. We are, for those that are keeping track, night 3 out of 8. So I hope everybody's had a very good beginning of Hanukkah. Before we really begin our service, we're going to begin with a few important safety things that we should know about and keep in mind. Of course, we hope we never need it, but we make sure to say it. So first of all, it's important to make sure you know your exits for here, there, and back, and on the side doors. Fire extinguishers are located in the back of the sanctuary and on the mezzanine. Always have a plan, run, hide, and fight. Defibrillators are located in the Temple Israel main office. Severe weather locations, we do not expect any, but should it happen, are located in this downstairs area and also in the confirmation hallway. First aid kits are in the AV room behind us where Eli is hanging out right now, as well as in the main office in the kitchen. As always, if you see something, say something, and if you need to make the call, please call 911 if there is an emergency. But in the meantime, we invite you to turn off your cell phones so that we can make sure not to interrupt the sanctity of our worship service. And we're now going to put the safety briefing aside so that we can have some time with each other, with the sanctity of Shabbat and Hanukkah. This should be a celebration of joy and light. So in just a moment, we are going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to sing our songs after we light our candles tonight because I wanted to make sure that we are kindling the lights of Hanukkah and kindling the lights of Shabbat to bring light into this world. So on Hanukkah, there are lots of different traditions that come about. I hope everybody grabbed a text sheet on the way in. They were sitting on the table. We're going to look at them later. Please don't feel like you need to read it all now. We're going to look at it later together. But I want to think about the ways that we each bring light into the world through our actions, through the people that we are, through the ways that we walk in this world amongst the rest of the community. Hanukkah asks us to kindle light during the darkest time of the year. It is the festival of light, and so we are invited to think about the ways that we bring light. And we all come to this Shabbat of Hanukkah, with so many different emotions. Some of us are here to celebrate Shabbat. Some of us are here to celebrate Hanukkah. Some of us come with sorrow to remember people that we've lost. And yet we're all here as one community to celebrate and bring light into the world. And however it is that we're coming to this space, I invite you to think for a moment about the ways that you're going to bring light into the world this week on Hanukkah. I'd like to invite you to take a moment and greet the people around you. Say Shabbat Shalom, say Happy Hanukkah to everybody. Introduce yourself if you don't know somebody that you're seated next to, or reintroduce yourself if you already do know them. So on this Shabbat of Hanukkah, I am joined on the bima by Kyle Knapp, who's going to be helping to lead the service, as well as Stacy, who's bringing music and joy into our worship experience. Cantor has made her way to the Galapagos Islands with her family, so she went on a very extensive travel day, but she made it there safely and is on a well-deserved vacation. And Rabbi Sharf is also on a well-deserved vacation, both of them in more tropical climates than we are. So I asked them both to bring a little bit of that sunshine and warmth back to Omaha for us through the winter. Maybe they can, help make it not quite so cold as it was last year. So I'm going to invite the Urker family to join me on the bima. They're going to light our Hanukkah. So on Hanukkah, when there's Shabbat and there's a question of which lights do we kindle first, of course the rabbis have an answer for this. We kindle the lights of Hanukkah before we kindle the lights of Shabbat. So we are going to kindle the lights of Hanukkah. And who's going to be in charge of the... Okay. So we light the shamash, the helper candle first, and then we light the newest candle first as we say the blessing, meaning we light this one first as we increase the joy. So as we light our candles, we'll join in the blessings together. Baruch atah Adonai Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Chanukah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim lavoteinu bayamim ha'em b'zman hazeh. Thank you, Val. Thank you for bringing the light and the warmth of Hanukkah into this sanctuary. And now we are going to add to the light and ask Gail to come light our Shabbat candles for us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Now we have the warmth and light of Shabbat, the warmth and light of Hanukkah. We have extra light in our sanctuary. We bring extra light into the world on Shabbat. And as my children like to say, it comes from a story. There is, in fact, a PJ Library story called Baxter, the Pig Who Wanted to Be Kosher. And in that story, it talks about how all he wants to do is see the candles dance and gleam and glow on Shabbat. And I always think about that as we light our Shabbat candles, as we light the Chanukiah, that the lights seem in so many ways to dance, to gleam and glow, and we get extra of that on this Shabbat. So we start with some Hanukkah songs that we are going to do to bring some extra joy into the world tonight. Start with Ma'ot Zor. Continue with Sivivon, the dreidel, asking the dreidel to turn and turn and turn some more. our next song is called Lots of Latkes. It involves a little bit of participation. So we're going to sing all 3 verses together, and then I need one brave soul to help lead a section. Kyle's going to lead a section. I'm going to lead a section. I need one brave soul to help us out.
It's really scary, but you can do it.
You can. It's not that scary. It's not that scary. All right. Who's going to do it? I'm going to volunteer somebody in a minute. Going once. Going twice. Logan Erker. Leland. All of you together, both of you together. I need your help. I need your help. Come on up. Come on. Okay. All right, you can stand right there. All right, just turn around. All right, we're going to sing all of it together, each one, and then we're going to break into 3 sections. The sections are going to be as follows. This whole section, the mighty bunch, you're in back. You're going to have to sing extra, extra loud to make this possible. You guys are going to be with Leland and Logan, okay? This middle section, kind of from Joni onward, all the way to Mike, you guys are with me, okay? And then everybody on this section is going to be with Kyle. All right, we know our parts. We're going to start. This section. You guys are going to be the lots of latkes section if you're with Kyle.
Okay, we're lots of latkes, okay.
All right, but we're going to sing all of them first so we hear it.
Okay.
Okay.
Lots of latkes, lots of latkes, lots of latkes, lots. Let's all eat them up. Lots of latkes, lots of latkes, lots of latkes, lots. Let's all eat them up.
That's going to be on your part. Sorry to cut you off. You guys, okay, so my section, pay extra attention to this part because this is our part.
Se vivon sov sov, 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 se vivon sov sov.
All right, now you guys are going to be the Maccabees section. You guys know this one. I gave it to you on purpose because it's the fun one. All right? You got it?
Maccabee, 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 Mac, 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 Maccabee.
I want to see the hand motions, guys. Mac, 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 Mac. You're acting like we've never done this before. You're making me look silly. Come on, Mac, Mac, Mac. No, okay, we're getting nothing over here. All right, we're going to do it anyway. All right, ready?
Lots of latkes, lots of latkes, lots of latkes, lots. Let's all eat them up. Lots of latkes, lots of latkes, lots of latkes, lots. Let's all eat them up.
Se vivon sov sov, 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 se vivon sov sov. Okay, good job. Yay. Thank you. What? You're right, but you're right. We were louder than you, but you guys gave a valiant Maccabean effort. We really appreciate you. All right, so now that we've spread our Hanukkah joy around, thanks for participating with us. We wanted to make sure that we had some festive Hanukkah light and song in our service. We're going to turn to the melodies of Shabbat, and we're going to bring our Shabbat gift into the world as we take this time not only to bring warmth and light of Hanukkah, but also to refresh and renew our souls so that when we go out into the world to be that light for everybody that needs it, we have the energy and the strength, and that we've refreshed and renewed our souls enough to do that. So we're going to begin with Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi Nikra Kama, Penei Shabbat Mekabela. Lecha Dodi Nikra Kama, Penei Shabbat Mekabela. kava, Kenei Shabbat nekabela, Ikrat Shabbat nechubenecha, ki neko abe'aka mirosh mikedem, ne'esima sofma'aseh, Shabbat diva, Adoni Ikrat kava, Kenei Shabbat nekabela, Adoni Ikrat kava, Kenei Shabbat nekabela, Uri shir ba'beri kevod Adonai, alai nikra, Adoni Ikrat kava, Kenei Shabbat nekabela, Adoni Ikrat kava, Kenei Shabbat nekabela. Shalom, Am Segula, Boi Chala, Adoni Ikrat kava, Kenei Shabbat nekabela, Adoni Ikrat kava, Kenei Shabbat nekabela.
You can be seated. As we go into Shalom Aleichem, we talk about the angels that come with us on Shabbat that we hope will come home with us to help spread the Shabbat joy and light into the rest of our weeks. Lawrence Kushner writes, "And so we understand that ordinary people are messengers of the Most High. They go about their tasks in holy anonymity, even unknown to themselves. Yet if they had not been there, if they had not said what they said or did what they did, it would not be the way it is now. We would not be the way we are now. Never forget that you too yourself may be a messenger, perhaps even one whose errand extends over several lifetimes."
Shalom Aleichem, Malchei Hasharei, Malchei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zekem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Please rise if you're comfortable doing so for the Baruch Hu.
Lai 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 Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Lai, 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 lai.
Be seated. You know what? I forgot the Ve'ahavta slide. My mistake. I'm very sorry. There is a Siddur in front of you that you can find the Ve'ahavta on page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadivarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. We read together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
Change the order.
turn to the words of Hashkivenu, our lullaby and our prayer for peace, especially as it continues to get dark outside. This is a prayer that people used to say before they walked home at night to pray for safety along what could be a treacherous road. And so we pray that we all make it home safely to our beds, that we wake up in the morning, that we are surrounded by a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace, here and wherever it is that we go.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Nehamidenu, Shomreinu Lechayim. Ufros Aleinu, Sukkot Shlomecha. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Together we read. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city, but prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will.
Veshamnu b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat la'asot et haShabbat le'dorotam beridot. I'm sorry, I'm messing Stacy up here by doing it in the wrong key.
Key change.
Do over. Veshamnu b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat la'asot et haShabbat le'dorotam beridot. Veshamnu b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat la'asot et haShabbat le'dorotam beridot. Beni Yavin, Bnei Yisrael, Bnei Yisrael, Oti le'olam. Veshamnu b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat la'asot et haShabbat le'dorotam beridot. Ki sheshet yamin asa Adonai, asa Adonai et hashemayim ve'et ha'aretz. Veshamnu b'nei ביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לתורות המרינות.
Now that we've welcomed Shabbat appropriately, we're reminded that just as much as the Jewish people keep Shabbat, Shabbat helps to keep the Jewish people. We stand and rise, if we are able to, for the Amidah, a central part of our prayer service. Adonai, Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Agita Hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachav, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lama'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magin Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav Le'Hoshia, Mashiv Haruach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechakel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofeh Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umido Melech, Melech Meimidu Mechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, B'na'aman al Tzalach Hayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol. Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Yehallelu Selah, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We take a few moments of silent meditation, prayers of the heart. Please feel free to be seated as you finish.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Tahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha. Tasim leolam. Tov benecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael. Bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha. Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
Every service, we take time to pray for those who are in need of healing, healing of the mind, the body, spirit. As a community, we pray for Hal Arnold, Shelley Babinder, Hulda Ball, Virginia Becker, Jean Brosco, Lisa Brunkhorst, Sandy Christofferson, Maggie Kanji, Roberto Kanji, Scott Farkas, Mason Gary, Allison Generu, David Greenberg, Jean Herman, Alan Hurst, Patrick Jensen, Joan Johnson, Ann Joseph, Ed Joseph, Ronald Kaplan, Lori Kettleman, Samuel Kenkel, Alice Klein, Daniel Knapp, Karen Levine, Judy Levine, Bailey Linthicum, Emily Linthicum, Brandy Matson, Allie Menard, David Millett, Ann Moshman, Louis Jerry Nabity, Betsy Newman, Alan Nog, Julie Null, Nadine Ostro, Betty Pipkins, Mary Ann Post, Maddie Rahauser, Jessica Rayboy, Holly Rosenberg, George Sachs, Rabbi Robert Scharf, Sherry Sigwing, Susan Snitzer, Dee Dee Spiegel, Raylene Svoboda, Chrissy Stewart, Matt Stewart, Roger Weibel, Kristen M. Wall, Laura J. West, Brent Wine, Abram Wisnia, Kate Ewell, and Aviva Bat-Kalman. If there are others that you're praying for on this Shabbat, I invite you to share their name with our community so that we can pray together. Thanks, Maddie. Thank you. We also pray for Jay and Vicky Levine. We join together in the words of the Mishaberach. Pray for healing.
Mishaberach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Ve'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Kor HaBracha Imotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So for those of you online, Dory has a text sheet to share with you. For those of you who are here in person, there were pink text sheets sitting outside on the door for you. Now, this is going to be it should be A, educational, but B, a little bit humorous because we are in Shabbat Hanukkah. So I recently found this text that immediately I wanted to share with all of you, and this is the perfect Shabbat for it. It was in fact written for the Shabbat of Hanukkah. So in Jewish tradition, we have lots of different texts that are commentaries on commentaries. So our original text, we have Torah, which is the 5 books of Moses, right? And then we have all of these questions that we're left with. Like it says, keep Shabbat. What does it mean to keep Shabbat? What does it mean to guard Shabbat? There's actually 2 commandments. One that says, Shamor et HaShabbat, guard the Sabbath, and one that says, Zachor et Shabbat, keep the Sabbath. So then we have all of these commentaries throughout the centuries that help us to decipher and distinguish what it means that the Torah is saying. So it's giving us commandments. So then we have the Mishnah. And the Mishnah is the rabbi's commentary on the Torah. The problem is that the Mishnah still doesn't answer a lot of questions. So then the commentary on the Mishnah is the Talmud. It's called the Gemara. So it has in the Talmud, you have a Mishnah, and then you have a rabbinic discussion around it. That's called the Gemara. And it has debates, which go in lots of different directions. Okay? And then, by the way, that's not the end. There's still a lot of questions after that. So then we have all of the different codes, which is where you get things like the Mishnah Torah from Maimonides that says, okay, but how am I supposed to actually do this? Because there's more questions and debates than answers in the Talmud. However, I want to teach a little bit about the Talmud tonight. So in an effort to do that, because the Talmud is really complex and we study it in lots of different times, particularly in adult education classes, there are a group of rabbis that are referenced here and people that know about Talmud that came together that wrote what they call Masechet chopsticks. Okay? Masechet means tractate. So the tractate of chopsticks. This tractate, just to be clear, this is not real. It is a tractate of Talmud. It's a satire, okay? So it's a parody. It's supposed to help us understand what it is to have Talmud in our lives, and it's really interesting. And the way they wrote it is to help answer questions about one of the most important Jewish traditions there is, which is on December 24th and 25th that the rest of the Christian world around us, which is much of American culture, what do Jewish people do when most of the stores and things are closed? There are 2 things. Does anybody know the 2 things that are stereotypically what Jewish people do on Hanukkah? Eat Chinese food. That's right. Number 1, eat Chinese food. Does anybody know the second one? Go to a movie. Okay. So this is not Masechet cinema, although I do think that exists as well, probably somewhere. This is Masechet chopsticks, and it is meant to answer all of the myriad of questions that you might have about what is the halakha, what is the way to eat Chinese food on Christmas. So in the style of Talmudic debate, we have here, and by the way, there's more. I only brought you 2 of the Mishnayot. We're going to go through it together because first of all, it's very funny, and it helps us but it also really does help us to understand what it means to have Talmudic dialogue. So we're going to read it together. So the Mishnah, remember, is the text, and then the Gemara interprets what it means in the text. So here's the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, our rabbis asks, when does one begin the festive meal of chopsticks? Beit Shammai Omrim, the school of Shammai. Remember, we have 2 big schools of thought in Talmudic debate. We have Shammai and we have Hillel. Shammai, just so for reference, is usually the much more strict, very machmir, as we call it, very strict version of the text. Beit Hillel is oftentimes a little bit more lenient. And oftentimes, spoiler alert, we go with the teaching of Hillel, but both are preserved at all times. So the school of Shammai says, on the 24th day of the month of December, because one should larutz la'asot mitzvah, to run to perform a holy act. So all of the Hebrew that they put in here, much of it is language that you would find in Talmud. So it often says that you should run to perform a mitzvah. You should be eager to do this. You're not supposed to be doing something because you're forced to. You should be excited to perform a mitzvah. La rutz la'asot mitzvah. He said, so you should be doing this on the 24th day of the month. Because remember, in Jewish calendar, it's Erev, right? We start like Friday night, Shabbat, to Saturday. So you should start on Erev, Festival of Chopsticks, right? Because you should have it on the 24th, because you should run to perform the mitzvah. Beit Hillel Omrim, the school of Hillel, says, through the entirety of the night of the 24th and the day of the 25th is mutar, permitted. There's lots of debates in the Talmud that asks whether something is mutar, permitted, or asur, forbidden. This is mutar, okay? Beit Hillel says you can have your meal, the festive meal, anytime between December 24th and the evening, all the way through the evening of the 25th. But the mehadrin, those who wish to embellish their observance, the people who are even more eager to do the mitzvah, wait until the final hours of the 25th, because we ma'alin bakodesh velo moridin. We ascend to holiness, we don't descend. Now this specific line here is important, because if you look at our Hanukkah right here, we added light every one of the 3 candles, right? You might remember that a couple of years ago I demonstrated to you that that is actually the teaching of Beit Hillel, that you add lights to the menorah because you increase holiness, you do not decrease holiness. Shammai, on the other hand, says you start with all 8 lights lit, and then you take away light every night. So they brought in the same text here. So why do we wait until the final hours? Because we ma'alin bakodesh velo moridin, we ascend to holiness, right? So we don't detract holiness from the world. V'yesh omrim, and there are those who say to extend the simcha, the joyous occasion. So we should do everything we can to extend the simcha. So that is the Mishnah. So then, by the way, we have many pages. We'll see how far we get. The rest of it is commentary on the 10 lines of Mishnah here, which is so indicative of what Talmud is, right? It's a little brief little snippet of something, and then the rabbis go nuts on it, all right? So this is what happens. So the Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanan, which means our sages taught, in an earlier saying, Amar Rabbi Seshwan. Rabbi Seshwan. I was a man of 70. Now, 70 is an often used phrase in Talmud. There's lots of times when we see, I was a man of 70 when I sat below a carob tree. That's a teaching we see in Talmud. I was a man of 70, and I had always consumed the Feast of Chopsticks before the end of the first watch on the 24th. But once I fell asleep while watching The Sound of Music, and I slept through the entirety of the following day. When I woke on the night of the 25th, my food was still warm. From that day on, I have followed the teaching of Beit Hillel. All right, so this man used to follow the teaching of Beit Shammai, but once he fell asleep and he realized that you could in fact enjoy your food all the next day, and he decided to become a convert to Beit Hillel. And then they ask, because they do this, they ask lots of questions. So the next question is, until when does the festive meal satiate us? How long does this keep us full, we ask? Amar Rav said 1 hour. Amar Shmuel says only 1/2 hour. So it depends. How long does Chinese food keep us full? We're not sure. Somebody says an hour, somebody says 30 minutes. Now, a bigger question. What do we do with the leftovers? This is a big question. Tashma, which they translate here as come and learn from his teaching. Tashma is another very common Talmudic phrase. It's a way to say, come around, gather around, and listen. Because remember, until much later, this was all an oral teaching. People used to memorize all of Talmud, and they were called the Amoraim, and their whole job was to memorize things, and whenever somebody needed a citation, the rabbi would say, hey, come here and give me the teaching on whatever, and they would say it. So then when you want to hear a teaching, you say Tashma. Come and listen. Amar Rav Shimon ha-chacham, which is a mouthful. Ha-chacham means the wise one. Rabbi Shimon the wise said, in the name of Rabbi Yaakov the Tzaddik, the righteous one, we keep them. Shene'amar, as it is written, shamor, you should keep it. Remember, in which I said Shabbat, like the mitzvah of Shabbat, you shamor at ha-Shabbat. They bring in all of these different texts. What do you do with the leftovers? It says you keep them. Shamor, you keep them. Ketzad, how? It is preferable that one should use a small square cardboard containers with wire handles to contain the notar, the remainder. Now, notar is another word. What does the notar usually refer to? The sacrifice. Here we're not talking about the sacrifice. We're saying, what do we do with the leftovers? Very preferable to keep them in the boxes they come in, the small cardboard boxes with the wire little handles. Don't put them in your Tupperware. That's not what they want you to do. And why do you do this? So to prolong the mitzvah, the sacred act of the Feast of Chopsticks. V'tov lehachmir, and it is very good to be strict about this, okay, is what they're saying. I mean, this is, are you getting the kind of idea of how Talmud goes, right? Okay. Now, here's more. Ve'ika da'amri, and there are those who say, al tikra shamor ele smor. Don't read it as shamor, but rather smor. Now, this happens a lot in Talmud. They say, no, that isn't a shin, that's a sin, because it depends on where the dot goes on the shin, right? So maybe this actually isn't the right word at all. Maybe we're not supposed to read shamor. Maybe we're supposed to read smor. Now, this is indicative of a whole different part of Talmud that is so common where, and this isn't even the worst of it, guys, we're going to get there. They go into a totally different direction because they say, oh, we're interpreting this the entirely wrong way because the dot's in the wrong place, so you're wrong. So why would it say that? Say, my nafka minha, what is the practical result of reading that way? Are we expected to eat s'mores on the Festival of Chopsticks? No. Rather, the creative reading of the verse comes to teach us that we shall eat dessert, shalo totam, that is not the same flavor as the meal, not the same cuisine. So it's saying that we should interpret the verse this way with a sin, not a shin, so as to help us understand what our dessert on the festive meal should be. I wish I was kidding that this kind of conversation didn't happen in Talmud, but it does, friends, it does. Okay. Kamashmalan, that is what it's teaching us. Why? De'en mazale Yisrael, because fortune telling doesn't pertain to the Jewish people. Now, that's an important phrase. There's a whole section of Talmud that talks about the zodiac and the astrological signs and whether or not they apply to Jewish people. So they bring this verse here, De'en mazale Yisrael. We can't use the fortune cookies because we don't believe in fortunes. Tanya, an earlier teaching, is it asur? Not mutar, remember mutar is permitted. Is it asur? Is it forbidden to eat ugot mazal, the cakes of fortune cookies? No, mutar, it is permitted. But one has not sufficiently embellished the mitzvah, the sacred act. Ve'ika de'amri, and there are those who say one has not fulfilled the obligation unless one eats a dessert from another cuisine. So you're supposed to eat on the festive meal, you're supposed to have Chinese food. But you can't just have the fortune cookie, no. You have to eat a different cuisine for dessert. Very important here is what they're saying. So now, this is where we're going to take a whole left turn, okay? Which, in case you didn't think that was the left turn of this teaching, this is the left turn. All right. Vitanya, another earlier teaching, is it asur? Is it forbidden to eat ugot mazal, cakes of fortune telling? Because if it says that ein mazal Yisrael, if the fortune cookies don't apply to Israel, is it therefore, can we eat them, or is it forbidden? So here's what it says. No, mutar, it is permitted. Divrei hachamim, these are the words of the sages. Va'amar Rabbi Mordechai, but Rabbi Mordechai says asur. Some say permitted, Rabbi Mordechai says asur. Kavar lanu chag le'echol pat haba'a bekisnin. It is forbidden. Why? Because we already have a holiday for eating cake-like items with filling. Does anybody know what holiday we're referring to? Yeah. Not your birthday, but very close. Do you eat cake with filling on your birthday? It's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, think of a Jewish holiday, though. Triangle cookies. Not Sukkot. Purim, you got it. Good job. So we eat, it's saying we already have a holiday where we eat cake-like pastries with filling in them. And then it says, and then he said to me, so then it brings in what's really interesting, this random verse from Ezekiel, which happens in Talmud all the time. So in order to tell them that it is forbidden, it says, Amrulu, they said to him, We already eat that. No one eats the filling of the ugot mazal. They're saying, okay, so you're saying it's forbidden because we already have a cake-like item. And they're saying nobody eats the filling of the ugot mazal. Nobody eats the filling of the fortune cookie. You don't eat the paper that comes in the fortune cookie. That would be silly. And then it says, Chazar lahem, he replied to him, kakatuv, it is written. And then it says, I'm going to just translate. It says, "O human, eat this Megillah scroll that I'm giving you and fill your stomach with it." So I ate it, and it tasted as sweet as honey in my mouth. They're quoting Ezekiel, because why not, right? And so it's going on to say that only a prophet can eat a scroll. So he's bringing in all of these different teachings. They're bringing in all these different teachings that help us understand where and why Talmud goes in such different directions. And then in the following paragraph, it goes back to the original, and it says, Pligiba, there was a difference of opinion about the original question. Titania. So then it goes back to leftovers again, because we already had that 3 paragraphs ago. It went on this left turn, roundabout side route over there, but it says, wait, we haven't even gotten to the original question. Come back to the leftovers. So it goes on and on like that. I'm going to encourage you can keep reading on your own. It's very funny. But it really does teach us what it means to read Talmud. It's never linear. It doesn't just say, what is it? Here are all the rules that are going to happen. That's why we end up needing Maimonides. And we need all of the codes that come later. We need the Shulchan Aruch. We need all of these things, because at the end of the day, do you know what you're supposed to do? Because I don't. It has a million different things. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my leftovers. Am I permitted to eat the fortune cookie? There's one rabbi that says yes, one rabbi that says no. One says I should eat something different for a cuisine, or I have not fulfilled my mitzvah if I don't eat a different dessert with my Chinese food than a fortune cookie. This is what it means to study Talmud. And this is just a funny example that we can all relate to, but Talmudic examples really go in so many different directions. You might start out with, hey, I wonder if it's kosher to eat chicken and cheese. Real Mishnah here, right? It says, is chicken kosher? Doesn't actually usually answer that question. The answer at the end of the day is, it's actually not meat, but it looks like meat. So we're going to not have cheese with it, because people might get confused that it looks like it. So then it goes on from there. And they have all of these debates about, well, what if this and what if that? And this text over here proves this in Jeremiah, and all of these different things. So we now understand that Talmud is meant in some ways to just be a record of the many, many debates that rabbis sat around having. It's our holy text, of course, not this Masechet, but others. But it's really interesting and funny, and the way that the rabbis and the scholars who wrote this are really help us understand a little bit more. And it's a fun teaching for the Shabbat of Hanukkah. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Okay, we are going to Dory on Zoom wonders, does Panda Express count as fulfilling the festive meal? This could be a whole different question, Dory. I invite you to write that tractate, add to the tractate. Okay, we're going to continue. Invite everybody who's able and comfortable doing so to please rise for the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'teit gedula li'otzer breshit, shalo asanu kuguye ha'aratzot, velo samonu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shalo sam chalkenu kahem, v'gora leinu k'chol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, Malchei HaMachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'ne'emar, V'haya Adonai, Lemelech al kol ha'aretz, Bayom ha'hu, Yeh Adonai echad, U'shemo echad. be seated. We turn our thoughts to those in our communities, our family members, our loved ones who are no longer with us, but who we carry in our hearts each and every day. If I say the name of a loved one, I invite you to rise and remain standing if you're comfortable doing so. We are in Shiva the first 7 days of mourning for Nancy Blotke Friedland. And we are in Shloshim the first 30 days of mourning for Stephen H. Justman, Kenneth Cowan, Bernard Michael Thompson, Mark Kraft, Jim Cockrell, Elena Shapiro, and Justin Swetman Weaver. We recall the art sites of Jack J. Ban, Ida G. Bernstein, Junie Block, Edwin E. Broadkey, Aaron Kahn, Irving Davis, Ruth Eli Ehrman, Fred House, Louis H. Kettleman, Mary B. Kendis, June Peggy Krasny, Rose C. Coolish, Solomon S. Levine, Samuel Lipton, Gerald Miller, Malvina Truffenberner Moses, Libby Motzkowitz, Charles Schimmel, Harry Sidman, Irvin Singer, Judith Elaine Judy Syriff, William Bill Syriff, Ruth Snitzer, Norma Levin Spector, Frank Worthsafter, Margaret M. Udelson, and Minette S. Zachariah. If there are others that you are remembering on this Shabbat, I invite you to share their name with our community so that we can remember with you. Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Mel. Thanks, Josh. We also remember Adam Nutt. We invite everyone who's comfortable doing so to please rise so we stand as one community with our mourners. We say Mourners Kaddish together for all of these people and all of the people who do not have people to say Kaddish for them. Yikadal v'yikadash me Rabba, be'alma divrach irute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayehon uv'yomechon, uv'chaye decho beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mivorach Leolam Ulamei Almaya, Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei Dekudisha, Brihu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei teva, v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories always be for blessing. We say together, amen. Please be seated. A few announcements before we conclude. First of all, thank you to Kyle, thank you to Stacy for such beautiful music and for adding to the beauty of our worship service. Thank you to Back of the House. Thank you to Scott. Thank you to Eli for tech. Thank you to Toby's team, as always, for hospitality. Our security is OPD. And thank you to our Zoom maven, Dory Bernstein, for everything you do for us. Our challah sponsor this Shabbat is Haddam Catering. As a reminder, our office continues to be closed until we come back January 2nd. However, we are obviously here for Shabbat. We'll have Torah study and services tomorrow as usual. Our staff was gifted this time off from the board as a thank you for all of their hard work. So we're very grateful, but as always, we are available for emergencies and pastoral needs, so please don't hesitate to call. Once we are back for the new year, we have a lot of adult education opportunities coming your way, covering a variety of topics. We've got a part 2 of Cantor's Israel-Palestine class beginning on January 16th, a class taught by Zach Smith on how the Israelites became Jews that start on January 22nd, a gender dynamics of the Israel-Hamas war taught by Jeanette Gabriel beginning February 4th, prayer preparation, chanting, and reading prayers begins on January 12th, and as always, we've got Torah study and the Zohar with Rabbi on Thursdays. And finally, a reminder, we are clearing the Mishaberach list again in this new year. We do it quarterly or so. If you have names that you would like to remain on the list, please make sure you contact our front office, as next week we will be starting fresh. So there's lots of information on the website about any and all of these classes and upcoming things going on. We invite you to check it out, and we hope to see you there. We will continue with Kiddush. I'll invite everybody to stand if you're able. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshani b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hichilanu, zikaron le'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tehillah le'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat l'chaim. Our Motzi, and I hope you'll all join us in the community court for Kiddush and a little Oneg Nash afterwards. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lachem min haaretz, b'tei avon. And you can stand or be seated as we have our closing song, which will be Light One Candle, as we continue the festive spirit of our Shabbat Hanukkah.
Light one candle for the Maccabee children. Give thanks that their light didn't die. Light one candle for the pain they endured when their right to exist was denied. Light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom demand. Light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Light one candle for the strength that we need to never become our own foe. Light one candle for those who are suffering the pain we learned so long ago. Light one candle for all we believe in, let anger not tear us apart. Light one candle to bind us together with peace as the song in our heart. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. What is the memory that's valued so highly? We keep it alive in that flame. What's the commitment to those who have died when we cry out they've not died in vain? We have come this far, always believing that justice will somehow prevail. This is the burden, and this is the promise, and this is why we will not fail. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't Ciao.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Happy Hanukkah.